There's the Dantian Hara, second chakra, right? All different traditions. They all talk about this point. Athletes learn to move off of this point. Dancers learn to dance off this point. Why is this point, and it's not necessarily this point, it moves actually up and down from around here to here, depending on, as science is looking at it now, the area of balance. It's actually the balance point of the human body. Depending on the angle you're at and moving, it moves up and down a little bit. So you learn to feel from this point. When your consciousness is higher up, moving higher up, you actually get a destable. And that comes from anxiety and fear. You start to shut off, right? And then as a dancer, do they talk a lot about moving from this point at all? Do they teach that?
Not here, maybe.
Well, if I was to show you a good dancer and a bad dancer, I've done this before and I'll show you on video, you'll see the good dancers moving right about here. Yeah, they're expressing from here, all the upper body and everywhere, but their balance point is moving right in here. Every athlete, everybody that understands this stuff, okay? So why is that so important? Your creative energy comes out of there, your sexuality comes out of there, but also it frees up the upper body. If my muscles are all contracting to keep me balanced and moving up here because my balance point is higher in my body, then I have less emotional expression. I'm also tightening a lot of muscles, so throughout my body to compensate for all the imbalances. And what's happening is I'm not as grounding anymore. So because I'm tightening up, you can't be as grounding when you're all tightened up inside. And so when some girl throws a little energy at you, or some person, or even another guy, you don't feel like you're grounding, you feel like you're walling off. Okay? And if I want to communicate freely emotion back, and all this is bound up, it's hard to get that feeling of emotion coming back at the other person. But if I'm loose and open in here, and I can feel my legs feel into the earth, then I can connect, I can be more penetrating because all this energy is open up here for expression. Okay, does that make sense? And it's really important to see. Now, that's why I was asking those questions of you, is when the tension started to rise, because I've watched you guys last night, and this is like when you were dancing, when it went up, could you bring it down? This is really important. Can you consciously feel it and relax back down? This is what I was working a lot on with you, because that's where you always go wrong, right? You come up here, get mad, and then you just check out for the night. Last night you didn't do that. I mean, you weren't perfect, but you stayed in your joy, and that was awesome. That was a massive shift in the right direction. And you started getting girls, instead of rejecting you like, oh my God, they were smiling at you and thanking you. And it was beautiful, because you were giving them good energy when you talked to them. And so they appreciated your compliments. They appreciated your acknowledgments, right?
Yeah.
It was a big difference. So when there's two schools, so the main school of thought in old school pickup theory is what? Go out, state pump, like get my energy up and then go talk to girls, right? So I'm not too low of energy. Problem with that is if nobody teaches the grounding part and they go get their energy up, they're a big ball of energy up here and nothing down here. Their consciousness is up here, and what does everybody feel? Anxiety, nervousness, fear, walled off energy, anger, all different kinds of shit that's not being dealt with because they're up here. Now, to deal with your demons, your fears, you guys are all trying to get rid of fears, right? But your fears, let's say your fears aren't of going up and saying hi to girls aren't going away, right? Or they go away and then you do a little work and then they come back. Then they go away, you do a little work, they come back, right? That's a common one. I get that all the time. What's going on? You actually starting to rest lower in the body on average. And then you go out to talk to, and so let's say I've desensitized to here, I can approach any girl. And then you get a little more in your body, you get a little more emotional awareness, a little more feeling, you lower in your body. Then you go talk to a girl and oh shit, here I've got all these fears. So then you want to come back up to block them off. But no, I got to bring you back down. You got to re-desensitize. Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of times relaxed, you might be sitting much lower, but then you get in the tension and you come up much higher. So go all the way down and learn to really recognize this place down here in this area, and then your legs and how they ground down, how your body goes up. Get all the way down here And then practice staying down there so you can desensitize at the lowest level. So you can really start desensitizing it instead of just a little bit, and taking forever to get into your body. Otherwise, it's just gonna get fucking tiring. Oh, I get a little better, then I get scared again. I get a little better, I get scared again. I get a little better. You see what I mean? You're baby stepping it, right? And
the lower you guys stay in your body, the easier it is. You don't have to do anything.
yep. I specifically thought of this because of you. Because you, every time there's fear, go out of your head. It's easy when you're low in your body. So that's what I wanted to illustrate this point, because your job last night was probably primarily, oh, I'm starting to get nervous, bring it back down. And that's what made it work, right? And as soon as you became the grounding element, which is the masculine, the containing element, it allowed them to become the feminine. And they basically led everything, didn't they? You just had to steer. You had to steer, but they were in the middle of that container making it all happen. So it wasn't like you really even did much. No. It's exactly what Dave was just saying. I want to talk today about well, basically cycles. A lot of people, they want to grow, and they push themselves. I run into a lot of clients that do one of two things. They either push themselves way too hard and not have a lot of access to their power. They step into it. Think of Brad Pitt in Troy. Think how powerful that character was. He's a little reactive and angry, but very powerful. And him and the guy he fought, and both those guys, the guy Brad Pitt ultimately killed, were